Hello there. One of my viewers sent me a message saying, I don't live in the Czech Republic, so where can I get good learning resources? And I think he must be a student because he also said he didn't have very much money to spend on them. And so this may apply to several people, so I'll make a video response. Uh, my strongest recommendation is actually for the US government courses that are now in the public domain. What I mean by this is that the US government during the Cold War made many courses for diplomats who were going to be posted to the Czech Republic or other countries behind the Iron Curtain and to work here in the diplomatic service, perhaps as ambassadors or so on. And the courses, because they were funded by the taxpayer, are now available free of charge to anybody. And you can download them from the internet. And I'm going to put links for this into the description. So the training in the languages for these diplomats was done by the Foreign Service Institute, and one of the languages they taught was Czech. Unfortunately, they don't teach this anymore, but at one point they offered a 44-week full-time course, so almost a year, full-time course in Czech. Very comprehensive. They actually call it the basic Czech course, but it's not basic at all. It gets to be very detailed. You can talk about all sorts of things pretty well after the end of this course. Now, it comes with a book which is 995 pages long, and originally it came with audio. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find the audio for it, which is a great shame because that would be a really helpful resource. If anybody, by the way, knows where I can possibly get, ideally for download, but even for purchase if necessary, the audio for the full 44-week basic Czech course from the Foreign Service Institute, I would be forever grateful. Please let me know. Thank you. Okay, so one point is that a lot of the stuff they're teaching, well, not a lot, but some of the stuff they're teaching is a bit specific to diplomats. Things about meeting ambassadors and so on, and talking about political matters. But most of it actually is very general. It's relevant to everybody. And I'll give you an example. Just choose a random chapter here. So here's the kind of dialogue that you have. So, jak se daří, pane ptáček? I'll turn it around so I can read it. Jak se daří, pane ptáček? How are you doing, Mr. Bird? To víte, mám stále mnoho práce. You know, I have still a lot of work. A jak se máte vy, pane Brown? And how are you doing, Mr. Brown? Děkuji, mám se dobře. Jsem rád, že vás vidím. Thank you, I'm doing well. I'm glad that I see you. Pane ptáček, Mr. Bird. Potřebuji radu. Chci si zajít někam na oběd. I need advice. I want to go down somewhere for lunch. Můžete mi doporučit nějakou dobrou restauraci? So can you recommend to me some good restaurant? So you see, that's got nothing specific to diplomacy. And there are many such dialogues. The majority of dialogues actually aren't specific to diplomacy at all and are useful to anybody. So each lesson has a dialogue like this, lasting about a page, and you read that, study it, think of it, ideally listen to it if only the audio were available, but and then it has the same dialogue in English, so you can see a translation and compare with what you thought it was, and then the majority of the chapter is then analysing that dialogue and giving grammatical and vocabulary lessons relating to it, and then a variety of exercises that are relevant to it as well. And there's years of learning in there if you're only doing it part-time, and you can skip over the parts that aren't particularly interesting to you, of course. The only second downside, apart from the lack of audio, is that in parts it does say, and now your teacher will give you some newspaper clippings for you to discuss. Well, obviously you don't have a teacher if you're studying the course on your own, but still, again, the majority of it can be done in self-study, and because it's free, it's wonderful. Now, recognizing that 44 weeks full-time commitment is a bit too much for many people. For example, diplomats who are only being posted for a short time or being sent soon, or the family members of diplomats perhaps wouldn't want to or be able to commit to 44 weeks full-time. The FSI also created a shorter course. It's called the FAST course, and it's actually 8 weeks full-time rather than 44 weeks full-time. So if you were just doing that part-time, instead of 8 weeks, it may take 6 months or something if you take your time with it. And this course is also available free on the internet, and fortunately the audio is also available for this. So I highly recommend this FAST course, and perhaps as a follow-on, the more complete course that they call the basic course. Now I'll give links to where you can get both the FAST course and its audio, and there are websites that are attempting to sell this for around $200 or so, but there's no need to pay anything. It's perfectly legal to download this from the internet and share it with your friends and so on. Even sell it if you want to, but when it's free, I don't see why people should be selling it. So yes, because it's in the public domain, it's legal to copy it. Now this has a lot similar to the first few lessons of the 44-week course, but including descriptions, a little bit about the Czech Republic and some background. And we have to remember that it was made during the Cold War, when things were a little bit different. The Czech Republic, now being a pretty prosperous democratic nation, is not very much like it was 20-something years ago. And so if you look at some of these cultural notes, you might find them bizarre, or in my case a little bit humorous, but certainly don't get the wrong impression that the Czech Republic is how it used to be. So here's one example that I came across as I was flicking through it today. Now, diplomats presumably live slightly different lives from the rest of us, but still, this I don't think would apply so strongly as it did back when this course was made. It's about having household servants. Cultural notes. Household servants. One of the advantages of staying in East Europe is the affordability of servants, and Prague is no exception. Every Czech loves the possibility of working for a foreigner from the West, because he or she will be paid in Western currency. Nobody wants to be paid in Czech currency. Remember, $100 is worth nearly an average month's salary. American cigarettes and Western liquor are very valuable from the Czech point of view. Amazing. And $1 is plenty of money from the average Czech's point of view, and is the basis for all negotiations. Now, that was perhaps true for diplomats in the 80s and earlier, but don't expect that to be quite true now. It's not that kind of country anymore. But still, in spite of all these strange historical things, the courses are fantastic, and I highly recommend them. So please do look them up if you want some free and quite comprehensive Czech courses. I'm going to do a follow-in video now about another US organization that teaches Czech not to diplomats, but to the military, to military officers in particular. And it's probably even more comprehensive than that, and comes with audio. So thanks for now. Bye-bye.